So here we have a liebherr refrigerator. We're going to fix the ice maker. This ice maker was leaking water every time it ran. So the tray is probably cracked. So I'm going to show you how to take it out and repair it. There's two tabs. You have to push them up. The one on the right, I push it up and I pull the ice maker slightly forward. Then the one on the left, I do the same. And as soon as I get the tab up in that position, I pull it out right to me. Now we have to unplug it. There's different ways that these plug in. This one just pops right up and out. So I grab it and I pull it up and out. And now that little plastic there holds in the wires. On this one I broke the plastic because it was super hard to get out. No big deal. Here's the ice maker tray. You can see how it's cracked. On this unit I have to change the housing and the tray. This is the accessory pack. In the pack comes two housings. You have to match up that little box with the one you have. Now the reason I'm changing it is this little notch here is different on the new style as opposed to the older style. So first you match up that little square housing, and I'll show later on why. If you look here, that little pyramid shape, that's the stopper on this one, and on the new style it's a different stopper. So if you try to put the tray in there, it gets in the way, so you have to change the housing as well. If your housing has the small stopper, you could get away with just changing the tray. So what we need is a tiny flathead, a T10 long screwdriver, and a T15. T15 takes out this little screw on the side. This screw on the side holds in the motor. It's very important that you put it back. Then you have to pop off this little liebherr cover. Be very careful, don't crack anything. The plastic is very brittle, so you may want to let it warm up a bit because it comes right out the freezer and everything can crack. Now you need a long T10 in order to get this screw out, and once you loosen the screw, then pop the cover. Now under this cover, there's a wire that connects the computer to a reed switch, so you have to be very careful. Also, this little zip tie gets in the way, so I'm going to cut the wire, this clear wire that goes to the ice tray. We're going to reuse the board on this, so I cut the wire in a couple spots in order to get it out. So I snip it there, and that's the motor. The motor is plugged in to the board and the ice tray. We're reusing the motor and the computer and the cover. So now you unplug the motor. The board is even labeled motor, so you'll see. And then I pull through those clear wires and I cut them again in order to get the computer out completely. The computer is held in by two little plastic tabs right there where my finger is. You pop the tab down, and on the other side is another one right there. And you pop them up, and then the computer comes right out. Now set that aside. So this accessory pack is like $120. If you get a full ice maker, it's like $600-700. So we're just gonna do the replacement. That screw, you can leave it, it's no big deal. Once everything's unplugged, the motor pops up and out. Those two little legs hold it in place. Now that little centerpiece is where the new tray is gonna go. Remember, we're reusing the motor and the computer. This is the new ice tray. It's got the shielded wire there. So now there's a little hole. We're gonna slide through the wires, and there's a little notch there that's gonna hold in that wire from the tray. Now in the back of the housing there's a hole. One part of the tray goes in there. Stick the wires in the other side of the hole, and those two legs are going to grab onto the new housing. And what you do is you put everything together kind of, and then you squeeze it in and it clips right in place. If you made it this far, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. It's going to help me a ton. So the computer, we're going to get rid of that plug that the ice maker goes in. It's very brittle, and if you're too rough with it, you could break the solder off the computer, and now you need a new board. So be careful with that. Now you pop in the computer and you plug in the motor. A quick tip is that the motor plug goes on the side where the hole is, so you don't put the computer upside down. Once you do that, you pop in this cover. Make sure you tuck all the wires in one corner so that they don't get caught up in that screw or in the way of the button. And then we put that T10 screw back in the hole. Make sure that the wires aren't crossing beneath that screw and that everything is, out of the way and flush. Then you put this cover back in, you line it up with the groove, and then you pop it in place and it clips. Now we have to put the screw that retains the motor in place. The motor has like a little piece that sticks out. It's very easy to put the screw wrong and hold the motor back, but if you look closely, the motor and the screw fit this way right here. See that? The screw has to hold the motor up so it won't fall out. So this ice maker is fully assembled. It's ready to go in the machine. I just like to do a double check. Make sure everything is nice and sturdy, tucked in. Make sure the tray is above that stopper. This tray twists, and that's how the ice pops out, and it uses that stopper. Now I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to tuck the wires back into that little clamp, that little like notch that holds it in. Now this part could get messed up. What you have to do is get the back up on the top there. Then the front piece goes up, and once it's there, you just knock it right in place. It has to be flush. So basically the back goes in place, then the front you have to push it up towards the top, and then you knock it in place. Some models have a screw that goes right in that hole right there. It's like a T15 screw, and it holds the ice maker in place. Now I have another video that shows you how to flush these out. I'm going to show you here too. You turn the ice maker off, then you hold the button down, and when it starts flashing, you release it. And what that does is it does a self-test, and it also takes water. So now you want to watch to make sure that the ice maker goes around and fills with water. Make sure there's no leaking. Make sure the ice maker goes around. Then the light flashes when there's no magnet in place. That bucket has a magnet right there. So right now the ice maker is flashing. When I put the bucket in, it shuts the flashing off. Now what I do after that is I do one more flush in order to get the water out of the tray into the bin, so I could see how much water is in there and to get any air out the line. Please like the video and subscribe. We're not done yet. So now when the second test is being done, I tilt the bucket back in order to catch the water because it tends to drip out the front, and you need to measure this. It needs to be about 1/3 cup. I can eyeball this and tell it was pretty much right where it should have been. So you see that flashing there? When I put the bucket back in place, it stops flashing. Now if your ice maker is flashing, that means that there's no magnet or there's a problem with the computer. If the ice maker is leaking, you could do the tray or the tray in the housing, depending on which housing you have. If the fridge is like 15 years old, you should do the whole accessory pack. The price of the tray is like $80 and the full kit is like $120, so I recommend just get the full kit just in case. If there's any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'm pretty good at helping out and responding. If you like the video, please share it, like it. If you're a technician in New York, feel free to reach out. I'm looking for a helper or for someone to take some jobs. If you're interested in learning, I'm doing training. If you're already in the trade or you're looking for a new career, this is a pretty good career.